Well, hey guys, and welcome back to Dave Mine episode 3. Today, we're going to be having a relatively short episode, and we're just going to be talking about work as a musician and what you could do to sort of differentiate yourself and help yourself get better and really help yourself find some work. This was sort of inspired by a Reddit thread. There was a user on Reddit who posted in basically like the recording forum, the We Are the Music Makers subreddit, which is an absolutely fantastic place to learn about music and the art form of making music. And it just blew up. Everyone really sort of gravitated towards this post, and for good reason. I read through most of it. And essentially, the OP, the poster, said how he feels that there's a lack of work for session musicians these days. So in other words, people who are for hire, guns for hire, really. And there was a whole bunch of people who responded to that saying, well, like, how can we argue that that's true or not? You know, what are the forces that are causing this to happen? So I'll kind of go through what some of them said. I think this is really interesting. The top rated comment said that it's most likely technology. So I think technology, this is the quote, I think technology is eclipsing the demand for session musicians. So, and he quoted the original poster, you stated, maybe samples got better. And he said, I couldn't agree more. This is, in my opinion, one of the hallmark things because it's so true. Today, we have the ability to really just work with and reinvent so many things because of the computer. And I think this has really, really affected musicians who record for a living. The second point was something a little bit more interesting, and it's really something I didn't really think about. And that's the fact that there are people who argue that the music today, the genres in other words, don't require as many live musicians as they did perhaps in the past. So for example, EDM, electronic music, trance, hip-hop, house, all this stuff is not requiring the bands and the guitarists and the drummers and the bass players that it used to require. Again, that's a valid point. Is that true? You could be the judge on that. I think it's there's some merit to that, put it that way. So, having said all this, are musicians doomed? I mean, at least in a recording studio, do you think they'll ever find work again? I personally think of course. One person said that in Nashville there's still a lot of work. I believe that's true. It's not what it used to be. And a lot of this, too, is because musicians now are so dime in a dozen, right? Everyone's got a guitar. I mean, I go to houses and apartments, and it's like, wow, there's a guitar always lying around. There was an interview with Steve Lukather, the famed session musician, Toto, right? He says when he started, when he was like a little kid, like 10 years old or whatever, being a musician was not really cool. You know, today it's like, you're a musician, you're awesome, you know. Kind of funny. So the genre shift, the technology, the gravitation towards ease of use of these new softwares and stuff like that, I think that's really influenced how people spend their money. And money is, of course, another big factor. These record labels and bands don't really have like the big budgets like they used to either. So all these forces combining make it harder to be a session musician. Still, I feel that there's opportunities out there. You just got to look for them. So what do you think? Leave some comments below. We'll have a nice discussion on it. I'm Dave, and this is Dave Mine.